Real Madrid's 4-1 scoreline at Levante read like a statement of intent, but what Xabi Alonso revealed after the match might be the deeper seismic shift people will be talking about for weeks. He didn't single out a goalscorer or a flashy finish. He pointed to Eduardo Camavinga's role, a player who can start defensive, sit in front of the backline as a no-6, and then, in the same passage of play, finish as an attacking no-10 slicing toward the final third. That kind of flexibility is more than a useful trick. It's a strategic wild. Camavinga's ability to blur positional lines forces opponents to make impossible choices. Mark him as a creator, and you risk leaving space for Madrid's controlling midfielders. Leave him to sit and screen, and he becomes a broken record presence in transition, reclaiming possession and launching counter-attack. Alonso's satisfaction was obvious, because this is the first time he's been able to work with Camavinga since arriving at the club. Fitness struggles and a long recovery kept the Frenchman away, but now he's back and already showing why he's so valuable. The line Alonso used, that Camavinga started one play as a 6 and finished it as a 10, is shorthand for something coaches dream about. A player who reduces the need for rigid substitutions because he alters the game purely through positional intelligence and timing. Add Jude Bellingham to this picture. Another high-impact midfield return Alonso can count on, and the possibilities multiply. Bellingham brings tempo forward thrust and a hunger to break defensive lines. Camavinga brings dynamism, ball winning, and the ability to slip into creative pockets. Together, they let Alonso rotate without losing identity. One night, you can press with a compact midfield that protects the backline. The next, you can morph into a fluid attacking unit that overloads wide channels and exploits transitional moments. That rotation not only preserves legs across a demanding schedule, it complicates scouting reports and match planning for every opponent Madrid will face. Managers who prepare to face a static midfield will be caught off guard by a unit that can rearrange itself mid-possession. On a tactical level, Camavinga's return changes how Alonso can deploy his fullbacks and forwards. If a midfielder can tuck inside or burst forward depending on the phase, fullbacks can either push higher, knowing there's cover, or stay disciplined because Camavinga will screen the space. Madrid's half spaces become more dangerous when someone capable of passing through pressure zones arrives late into the box. Dead ball situations and quick combinations through crowded midfield corridors suddenly look winnable. Against teams that defend deep, a player who can shift into the final third without predictable movement is priceless. He drags markers out of position and creates seams for runners. Against teams that press, someone who can absorb pressure and then act as a pivot to launch counters is equally valuable. But this isn't just about one player's return, it's about depth and identity. Alonso is building a squad that doesn't look identical every week. That unpredictability is a weapon in itself. It forces opponents to prepare for multiple versions of Real Madrid rather than a single template. For fans, pundits and opponents, that raises an unsettling question: which Madrid will show up on any given night? The one that grinds out control with a tight midfield, or the one that explodes through dynamic interchanges and late runs into the box? The answer now may be both, depending on how Alonso wants to play the chessboard. There's also a human angle. Camavinga's long return from injury makes this more than a tactical footnote. It's a story of resilience. Players who have sat on the sidelines and then step back into a role with such immediate impact often bring an intensity born of patience. That intensity can be contagious in training and in matches, pushing teammates to raise levels. And with Bellingham also reintegrating, the training ground turns into a lab where Alonso can test combinations, build chemistry, and correct tactical wrinkles before they matter on match day. So the 4-1 win over Levante is the headline, but Alonso's words are the lead. Real Madrid might be entering a phase where positional fluidity is an intentional identity, not an emergency fix. Camavinga's capacity to oscillate between 6 and 10 empowers the team tactically, deepens rotation options, and elevates Madrid's unpredictability when paired with Bellingham. Coaches love versatility because it buys you choices. Alonso now has more of them. For a club that competes on multiple fronts and faces tactical specialists every week, that kind of flexibility could be the difference between being good and being unstoppable.